Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too, I'm Bushka. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about the jagdpanzer, the JGPz E100. And it's a tank that I have long had a very deep and abiding love and affection for. And speaking of which, I'm going to get my good mate DMG to send us a bit of gameplay here. So we're going to see some gameplay from the same human that I did a masterclass with for the Jaeger. Probably about a year ago now, I think, at least a year. Jeez, time flies when you're having fun. This tank got buffed recently, and that's the main reason, the main driving factor behind this new video. And it was the kind of buff that I really love, and I think is very clever from wargaming. They buffed two things. They buffed the left and right gun traverse angles. And what that means is that you can now, move your gun further left to right. Now that might seem like a pretty simple buff and not that important, but one of the main benefits of driving the Jaeger is that you have this absolutely ridiculous gun. Like, it has huge damage numbers on it. And while it's wonderful, when you have to flatten the tank out like this, you expose yourself if you're doing it in the open field. When you can get it up against obstacles and side scrape it, you can really increase those angles. And having a gun that can traverse further from left to right means you don't have to come as flat at the target when you are actually firing offensively. That means that you take less damage, or you're less likely to take damage. And when you're doing that, you're moving the tracks around. So these two buffs were aimed directly at the playstyle of the Jaeger, the angling and the firing while you're angled and while you're moving around. And that's very, very important, because one of the big problems with a tank like the Jaeger is there are a lot of high pen guns at tier 10. Even the heavies like the T110E5, the IS-4. These are guys that can get massive pen on their heat rounds. Just ask any mouse driver. And if you're a big, buffy German tanker, you want to be able to move around a lot so that you can foil those dastardly high pen calibrated shells running grubs. So this is one of my videos playing. This T110E5 really played this exceptionally well. I was very, very happy to claw it back from a deficit with this bloke. He did very, very well here. We had to push down. We're happy to do that because this is basically the way to do. We're going to bounce. And that's what the Jaeger does. I'm going to show you two games now from DMG. DMG is a much better driver than I am, and I'm very happy to feature these. If you haven't checked out Dark Magician Girl's channel, you really should. Excellent, excellent player. This is on Falls Creek. Now, this is the exact situation I'm talking about with this tank. You can see that DMG is side scraping off that rock. Now, if the gun traversed only 8 degrees as it used to, the angle he pulls out at here would not have been possible. But with 12 degrees, it allows him to have a much better angle and still maintain that auto bounce area. I don't know why he's flickering in and out there, but that's just the replay. That's all there is to it. One of the things that people don't realize about the Jaeger is that it has just an absolutely monstrous gun. The 170mm pack is like filthy in terms of high explosive damage. Your average HE roll, if you pen, is 1200. Try that on for size. So you can actually roll up to 1500. You can one-shot waffle tractors and things if they're not careful. And that is something that I have max rolled before on this tank. And I was going to include in the video, but we ran over time because we're obviously featuring 3 games here. The tank has really benefited from that max roll ability, and it's turned it into a Death Star clone with slightly less damage, obviously, when you're dealing with the big boys, like anything that's got an armor profile. But if you're hitting grills, the sides of AMX 50Bs, waffle tractors, those kind of tanks, then you are looking at a tank that is every bit as menacing as a Death Star with its HE, which is lovely. Plus you get the added bonus of being able to side scrape it and hold a heavy line, which is brilliant. And you can see Dark Magician Girl has done just that, has rolled up very hard and aggressively here, is keeping an eye on everything that's going around, and is running the one line on Falls Creek. Now, I am a big lover of this tank when you drive it aggressively. I think it's a tank that obviously you can play it from the back because it is a TD and it has got a whopping big bugger off gun. But now you can also drive it aggressively and get much better angles on your... and look, that shot right there, that is the extra 4 degrees of gun traverse. That is absolutely the extra 4 degrees of gun traverse. That also helps when you're being COD. Like 4 degrees sounds like not a lot, but compared to 8 degrees, it's 50% more. 50% is a lot more gun traverse. And it's the type of thing that people don't understand. They don't really look for. They look for the raw numbers. How many DPMs? How many penetrations? How many fun times with the high rolls? That's all good. But things like extra gun traverse, what wins you these little kind of fights where you're trying to get the gun to bear and get it to bear quickly. And that's important in the long run. It's one of the things that people really overlook. There's one of the big reasons why I love the Tortoise is it's got smashingly large gun traverse on either side. And people don't understand how to use that because the wider your gun traverse, the more you can angle your tank and still get a shot off. And the more you can angle your tank and still get a shot off, guess what? The greater your armor profile. So when you're getting a really good level of gun traverse on a non-turreted TD, you're actually getting a sneaky, subtle buff to the amount of armor you can put on your tank and still be offensive. And that's why people like DMG, when they drive this thing, can absolutely wring every last little bit of blood, sweat, and tears from the big German pie eater. Now, this game is phenomenal. Let them push, says DMG, and indeed, the push is on. So the Reds are pumping, and they are really coming in hot and heavy. Now, this is one slight negative to the tank, and when I say slight, it is a bit of an issue. If you are... well, if you get left behind by your team, it is very, very hard to successfully negotiate your way forward. You are large, your sides are wafer thin, and there are a lot of big guns out there, namely 183s are the Jaegeroos, Waffles. I mean, you can see in this game alone, there were 3 TDs on both sides. Oh, lovely, lovely. But you've got a big, big chunk of alpha. And positions like this where you've got both soft and hard cover combined are perfect for the tanks like the Jaegeroo, because you can take these shots and still be quite comfortable angling up to the next target. Now 4 versus 3 here now, but there's a little bit of a disconnect from the team, so not exactly ideal. The other thing that we have failed to mention thus far, and it would be disingenuous of me not to, is that 0.321 is your dispersion when fully buffed on this thing. And 0.321 is not an amazing dispersion. Still, if you let the gun shrink that reticle all the way back, you'll be fine. 1 on 4 now. DMG is obviously going to get munched. Or maybe not. Need to relax, Dexter. So they're all talking. They're all talking. Watch this. You remember how we talked about the HE on this thing is really big and it's like a mini Death Star? You're going to see that come into play in just a wee short while. Look at the angles that DMG is holding here. They are really, really solid. Very hard to pen. Just HE splash from that Jag Tiger. He got sick of not being able to do anything. Here comes the WZ113 talking crap. Might want to just bite that one back for a second. Only 4,000 damage so far. Now, it's been a good game thus far, and there's still 4 tanks to cool through. Here we go. They're all starting to get a little bit bulgy. Now, this Waffle Tractor is going to make a hilarious mistake. There's the heat. There is a lot of pen on the heat rounds. I forgot to mention that. One of the most hopelessly amazing heat pens in the game. Watch this Waffle. Hello. Goodbye. That's right, 1,208 damage straight through the mantlet. And now things are suddenly looking a whole lot different. Can take 1 more from the ST1. Yep, absolutely. That's a quite sub-alpha roll there too. 10 under what the ST1 could roll. He's going to nail this ST1. Doesn't like it at all. The ST1's now got his gun back, but it's too late. Look at that big, thick, chunky side. Thank you, mother, for the rabbits. That's a monstrous, monstrous monstrous performance, and very, very excited from the DMG there. So I hope you guys liked that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Kolomanovsky Mastery, high caliber, 5 kills, 7.5k damage, all that kind of stuff. Really good tank, really fun tank to play, and able to fulfill quite a few roles on the battlefield. You can be a bit of an open field angler as long as you can hide that lower glacis, and you can certainly hold the heavy line as well. Lots more content coming up on channel. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being part of the community. And until next time, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.